Hello, everybody.
Yes.
I've already talked to him and he's in Enumclaw in the jail also.
Okay. So there are two matters on 3A044 and 3A0685819. We'll wait till Hello, Mr. Bennett.
Hello.
All right. So are we ready to proceed on the Bennett matters?
Yes.
Ms. Pace, I know that the city had made a motion to revoke, preliminary motion to revoke the community court stipulated order of continuance, and that was back in May. We set it over for Mr. Bennett to have an opportunity to comply with the agreement that he made with the city. And I can't help but notice that, we've had a number of hearings since then. Mr. Bennett failed to appear most of the time. I'm not sure if he ever appeared on time. And he's had a number of other violations that have happened since this one. There's a case in Renton that he's on a stipulated order of continuance for. There was some arrest in July on assault in the third degree, and then in August 12th, he was charged in Kent with assault, obstructing, and attempted assault 3. He pled guilty to that assault charge in Kent, and he is on conditions now in Kent. So I'll hear from the city.
Thank you, Your Honor. And the city has been keeping track of these new violations. I have them noted here. And with these violations, but most especially with the formal conviction that is new, and since he was removed from community court in June, the city does have a motion to revoke the SOC and to sentence Mr. Bennett.
Ms. Sumian.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I do understand where the prosecution has come from. Mr. Bennett has been given multiple chances. I did talk to him, today, and one thing I found out is that he did not realize that he could get some help in paying for those classes. He was trying to, I believe, in Burien, do the anger management classes that he was unable to pay. There was someone helping him, and then I guess nothing ever came from that. And I did explain to him that, if you're unable to pay, and we understand things are very expensive, but instead of, not ignoring it, we want to tell the judge and see if there's a way that the court can help, or if there's some other kind of program that can help. And that shouldn't be the reason why you don't, do something. But that does seem like that was part of the problem of him not being able to do the things because he wasn't financially able to. I do feel like Mr. Bennett is remorseful. I did let him know if he wanted to talk that he could. I understand he's been given a lot of chances. Again, at this point, I think a revocation makes sense, but we would ask for, would there be sentencing today if there's a revocation, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay. I guess we would just ask at this point for some leniency. And Mr. Bennett, would you like to say something?
Well, hold on.
Okay.
We're jumping the gun a little bit because although I've revoked the stipulated order of continuance, granting that, I still have to review the
the stipulated trial.
The facts of the case. So let me do that now.
Okay.
So there are a total of 3 charges: assault in the 4th degree, domestic violence, exposing children to domestic violence, and resisting arrest. So I'm going to take, and they're under 2 different case numbers. So I'm going to look at the agreed evidence, which I believe is the probable cause statement for both of those cases now. On the resisting arrest charge, I've reviewed Officer Garbini's sworn statement from October 26th of 2023 indicates that there was probable cause to arrest Mr. Bennett for assault. And when he and Officer Chi tried to arrest Mr. Bennett for assault, he resisted in a number of ways. He pulled away, he grabbed the police officer, he pulled away from the officers. Multiple times the officers attempted to gain compliance, but he continued to pull away and to resist the officers when they told him he was under arrest. So I am finding him guilty for the charge of resisting arrest. I'm turning now to the assault and exposing children charges. Garbini's report from October 26th of 2023. I am finding facts to support conviction for assault in the 4th degree, as does indicate that Mr. Bennett pushed his sister, who he resided with, that makes it domestic violence related, his family or household member. And when he pushed her, she fell down. And during that incident, a child, MKW, was present in the same room, date of birth 3/21/13. Officers spoke to her, and she did indicate that she saw the assault that occurred between Mr. Bennett and his sister. So I'm finding him guilty of assault in the 4th degree, domestic violence, as well as exposing children to domestic violence. All right, having found Mr. Bennett guilty, what is the city's recommendation?
Your Honor, the city's recommendation for these cases is 30 days in custody and a mental health evaluation.
Ms. Ambrose-Sumian?
Thank you, Your Honor. I know the domestic violence, exposing children to domestic violence does have a mandatory minimum of 30 days. So we would be in agreement with that agreement, with that recommendation and the mental health evaluation.
Okay, Mr. Bennett, we've had a lot of talks over the last, 7-8 months. And each time that you and I have had a conversation, especially, because you're in community court, we spoke very frankly, and I asked a lot of questions of you for how we can help support you in complying with your community court agreement. When you're in community court, you're supported by the whole team, and we all want to see you succeed. Unfortunately, you never followed through with communicating with any of our team. Despite them reaching out to you multiple times, despite them having conversations with you when you were in court. And back in June, our program director wrote an email saying, you're just not a good candidate because you're not interested in following through with any part of the agreement that you entered into. And I don't remember her ever sending us an email like that about a person for Black Diamond Community Court. So many efforts were made to work with you, and you just weren't interested. And I suspect that there's a couple things going on. One is obviously a drug problem, and the other one I think is a mental health problem. But you never shared anything with us. You never worked with us, despite months of us trying with you. Even after you got a new charge, we were still willing to work with you. So, hearing today that, it was a financial issue, Mr. Bennett, that just simply doesn't work to say that now, because there was a team of people working to help you follow through with this, and you just never showed up for anything, not even court most of the time. And I understand when you've got drug problems, mental health problems, it makes it very difficult to follow through with obligations. But you've got so many positive things about you. You are really excel in sports, and I think it's track that you were really doing well in, and helping others. And it makes it really, really hard for you to follow through and do those great things that you're so good at when you're not addressing the issues related to drugs and related to your mental health. And there's only so much that the court and the court's community court team can do to drag you into this, right? If you're not willing, then we can't do the program with you. And unfortunately, you just weren't willing to make the very small effort it takes. Because the other thing about that program is we only give you what you're able to do in the moment. We don't give you too much to do. And one of the things that you have to do in order to figure out what you're able to do and not able to do is talk to the team. You have to be willing to talk to the team. And we gave you months of opportunities for that. So I share that with you now here, and I know you've been in custody for a few days, had a lot to think about, and you're hearing this from me now. And I would love to hear, whatever it is that you would like to say to the court before sentencing. It really saddens me that we have to be here for sentencing when, I would have preferred to, have you in our program and dismiss all these cases at the end. So, and I'm sure you would have preferred it too. So I would love to hear from you.
Can I grab my paperwork from the last court case that I was in at SCORE or in King case?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I can hear you now.
Okay. When I was at South King County in Kent, they had already issued me a mental health evaluation, and that was before I came to here. And my mental health, my evaluation is voluntary for health, mental health, dependent to appear at, of course, September 13th. And on the paper, it says that I had threw a ball at her, and it says I didn't push her down. And the anger management was the help that I was supposed to be getting from the previous court at Des Moines and Burien. I can't remember. And they basically had said that I would be going through the court to get help, but they never gave me a court sentence, or not a sentence, but a court, what do you call it? My lawyer for there never told me that the court was gonna help me with paying the cost, because I don't have nobody to help me pay for anything, and I don't have a job. And while I was at the court, the basically I had went over the cases with a lawyer, and uh, she had said that I had already got past the domestic violence case, and the only case that I had was theft, and that was basically that was it. She had said that. I think that was I think that was pretty much it. And then she had said that me going towards the community court, I wasn't able to log in. So after my last appearance, she told me that I wasn't. I had came to court, and she said that I think we call it. I was supposed to come back to court to find out if I was in the position to continue or not. And then I think it was for me to continue, and then you said that I had tried to log into the court, and it was basically me getting a no. There was like, so they're not sending the email link. I mean the not Outlook. What do you call it? What is it called when you're? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm listening.
Okay, when you go to Zoom, the Zoom link. So the Zoom link, they weren't sending the Zoom link. They're just sending the link saying that basically this day and this day and what we're going to talk about. So that was the only way that I could get onto the Zoom link, and basically and that was like removed off of my thing before I had went to court. And I had emailed Summer and texted her, and she never replied back to me. And I had got a number from Sabrina, and that was probably like, I'd say like a week after I had came in for a week after the second court that I had came before the what do you call it, the week after I had missed because I had an eye exam. So that following court date, 2 courts before that where I had appeared, that was when I had the had came in or whatever. And I think yeah, because I came in with my sister, and she said that she was gonna drop the case against me for the domestic violence, and we followed up with that in the court. And then as of me being a student or whatever, I've been a student and I've been participating. I was just at Central Washington, and 30 days from now would roll over into my school. It rolls over into me going into school, and as I'm in person classes all the way in Central Washington. So I'm still deciding if I'm gonna attend that or if I'm gonna go to Shoreline. But that's pretty much all that I had. And the what is it called? The other defender, what's her name? Nicole. The city, is the city Kent, or is that, what is the city?
This is, everybody here is for Black Diamond.
I can't hear you.
Everybody here is for Black Diamond, okay? And Nicole Pace.
1 second.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, Nicole Pace is the city prosecutor, and it used to be Ivor Gunderson. I know you're used to seeing Mr. Gunderson in that seat, but Miss Pace is here instead of him today. So, you know, what I'm hearing from you, Mr. Bennett, is that you're just giving me a lot of excuses for why you weren't able to follow through, and you're giving me some information about other cases and other attorneys and what they told you. You've said that you reached out to Summer and she never got back to you, and I know that's not correct. You know, we have a lot of people in our community court program, and most people don't have a hard time reaching out to Summer or Jaden or anybody else on the team. You know, and so I'm trying to figure out, you know, you've got all of these criminal charges that happened, you know, in the last year. And I'm just trying to figure out, you know, what's happened with you, Mr. Bennett, because, you know, I know that in Kent, you've been ordered to get a mental health evaluation. You know, we tried to include you in, we have a mental health counselor here as part of our community court program. We tried to include you in that, but you weren't interested. And so what I'm hearing you say now is you weren't given opportunities. And I know that's just simply not correct, Mr. Bennett. We spent months trying to work with you. And the city asked for revocation back in May. And here we are now in August. And in between May and August, you've done nothing to try and get back in compliance with anything, you know, with anybody in the community court team or appear for court. And then you got these new charges, you know,
And on my, if my mom's still on the Zoom, she has my phone. On my phone, that's the only way that I could show you that I have texted her and had no response. I've emailed her and had no response. And I'm not saying it's just like, you know, it's just on her or whatever, but it's like it's like, you know, I'm a athlete and a student, you know, first. So student athlete, when I've been playing or whatever and having my experience as a teen or however years I've been playing basketball and learning how to deal with people and having that what do you call it? I can't even think, but it's not a problem for me to interact or have any kind of interactions. I'm saying that I've been going through my processes with the things that I've been that's laid out in front of me, and there's pretty much no like feedback coming from like the people who are saying they're trying to help me. So like I've been through the community court, and when I was in the community court, because that's what we're talking about, all the cases of Black Diamond, and my mom should be helping me with that too. But I haven't had a car, I haven't had a ride. I actually got into a car accident in Black Diamond on my way last year to Highline, and that was pretty dramatic. So I went through that. I haven't had a car since. So everything that I've been doing is catching the bus or riding my bike. So after I showed up, there was no help. Like there's nobody helping me. Like I said, I was doing the community court. I probably missed a couple days, and then going through the what's it called? The last time you had said something to me about it is there was no like, we're gonna like what do you call it? Show you this or show you that. It was more like you were saying that I had like I don't know how to explain it, but
Let's go over what's happened since you entered into the community court program. You entered into the community court program back in February. Then 2 weeks after that, you had just entered. So 2 weeks after that, and you're given a notice like that day, you got to come back in 2 weeks to check in for community court. You failed to appear on February 28th. Instead of ordering a warrant, I noted the FTA and we reset it. And then on March 13th, we reset the hearing to March 13th. You failed to appear that day either. That time I did order a warrant, and I said you could quash the warrant as long as you came into court. That was the order. Then there was another court. You showed up for another court in Renton, and we worked with Renton and we quashed your warrant for you. And then on March 27th, you called at 9 a.m. and we told you you had a hearing at 1 p.m. And then you called at 1:45 saying that you were running late. And then you didn't appear. Court ordered a warrant. I think you finally showed up and you said you were signing up for classes at Green River, and we had talked about the peer groups, and you met with Summer to talk about how to do the forms in my case. And we quashed the warrant and we reset your hearing. Then on April 10th, you called an hour or so before court and said you didn't have a ride and you'd be calling your case manager. You didn't show up and no one had heard from you. And so another warrant was ordered. And in between all of this, like, you're not communicating with the case manager, you're not communicating with your defense attorney. So then you called on April 29th. You asked for a warrant quash, and we set the warrant quash hearing. Then on May 8th, we had another hearing. You were present. We quashed your warrants. But at that time, the city asked to revoke your agreement because between February and May, you weren't showing up for court meetings and you weren't communicating with your attorney or the community court team, and you weren't doing any of the peer groups or anything that you agreed to. I didn't revoke the agreement in May, and we set it over. Then on May 15th, you were present, and Summer said she'd had no contact with you. You said that you had technical issues with attending peer groups. And we set it over again after you'd met with the team, and we were trying to resolve whatever issues that you had. Like, I think the team was really working with you, trying to resolve whatever issues you had with getting to court, with getting onto the peer groups, with communicating. And it seems to me like this is what I'm seeing from my end. And then you failed to appear May 29th. So this is what I'm seeing on my end. And then you're telling me that nobody calls you back. And so there's a real breakdown of communication. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. So I've had problems communicating, and that's because so I was using my little sister's phone, the same MK, and while I'm using her phone, at a time that's not my phone. So whatever she has on her phone is kind of like, to me, that's off limits because my older siblings had to use my phone at one time, so I didn't want to go through that. And on my phone, I don't have my iCloud is locked, so I can only use the apps that I have on there. And I started removing apps, and I am unable to download apps because I was, during the time of COVID, was the only time that I had used Zoom. So my phone had got stolen from me once I had got shot, and probably I forgot when I had got shot.
You said you got shot?
Yes.
Okay. Did anybody know about that? So when was that, Mr. Bennett?
I forgot.
I mean, was it a year ago, 10 years ago, a month ago?
Probably 7 months, 8 months ago.
So Ms. Amber-Simeon, did you know about this?
I didn't.
Okay, why wouldn't you tell your attorney that, Mr. Bennett?
I don't know. I thought you guys were looking at my medical records as well.
We don't have that information. That's private.
Mm.
Mr. Bennett, this is why it's so important for you to communicate with the people that are here to help you. You have to talk about the things that are going on in your life. You and I have talked about this before. Like, you've got to communicate and express what is happening in your life. You know, it's really frustrating from the court's perspective here, because we're trying to work with you, right? We're really trying. Like, wouldn't you agree? Like, when you showed up here in court and you and I had conversations, like, I mean, I really honestly would like to hear from you. Did it feel like I was there to help you, or did it feel like I was there to just like put you in jail?
I feel like you were just doing your job, as whatever you had, uh, as much
Well,
information as you had.
well, Mr. Bennett, here's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to set over sentencing. Ms. Amber-Simeon, I'm going to ask you to have a really meaningful conversation. Bring in Summer if you would like, because I feel like there has been a huge breakdown of communication. Mr. Bennett, I don't know if it's because you don't feel like you can share certain information with the people that are there to support you, but this is important. If you were shot, okay, and you have had some medical issues related to that, if you've got some, and you were also in an accident, if you've had a concussion, if you've had some other medical issues, this is really important for your attorney to know. Your attorney is there for you. She doesn't have to share everything that you tell her. She only will share the things that you and she discuss that are appropriate. And this is why I asked Ms. Amber-Simeon, did you know he had been shot? Did you know he had been in a car accident? Like, these are things that are so important for you to share with your attorney, and that's confidential between you and your attorney. Okay?
Mm.
I mean, we're kind of, we're kind of past that, because now your cases are convictions, okay?
Mm.
Or at this point, we're awaiting sentencing. I'm not going to sentence you today. And Mr. Bennett, I know that this is frustrating for a lot of parties here, because we've been trying to work with you for months and months and months. But I'm seeing here that you've had some big things happen in your life that maybe are affecting your ability to comply, your ability to communicate. And I really want those items fleshed out before you are sentenced on these matters, because these are serious cases. And it's going to affect the rest of your life. So, Ms. Amber-Simeon, I'm gonna set over sentencing 1 week. I'll hear from the parties with regard to Mr. Bennett's hold. I had him on a no bail hold because he has failed to appear so many times, even when bail is posted, that I just felt like I needed to at least get to this point. I know both his parents are here today, and that gives.
Yeah, and I believe his mom would like to say something, but it's up to you, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Pace, I'll hear from you with regard to bail between now and next week's sentencing hearing.
Your Honor, I think that, unfortunately, Mr. Bennett's history with this court and other courts in the state kind of speaks for itself. And I think that the court should hold him until next week. It's only a week. And at least that way we can ensure that we can address sentencing at that time and move forward.
Ms. Ambrosinian.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I would ask for either a lower bail amount in the amount of 1,000, or for some recognizance. I know Mr. Bennett has difficulties in doing so. I really stress the point of that he needs to be in court, and if he's not, then he gets picked up on a warrant again, and basically all of this continues. He would show back up in court. I know, like you mentioned, his parents are here on Zoom, so hopefully there'll be a good support system for him. But that's what I'm asking for.
All right, and your mother, Mr. Bennett, is Miss Williams. Miss Williams, would you like to address the court with regard to the issue of bail only? We're going to set over sentencing, so any sentencing issues I want to reserve until next week. But I'll hear from you if you would like to address the court with regard to Mr. Bennett's ability to appear next week at sentencing.
Okay. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure. Okay. I just want to say, he definitely will be at court. I know it's been really crazy, regarding all of this, but I that's what I wanted to speak on, but I'm not going to speak on that right now, since you said it's just about Bill. Marjan knows what he has to do, and I promise you, he will be at court early.
Okay. So if I set a hearing for August 28th at 11 o'clock, can you assist him in making sure that he be at court?
Yes,
Right.
I will be there too.
All right. I appreciate that. Thank you, Ms. Williams. Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Bennett,
Mhm.
I'm gonna give you one more chance to appear out of court or out of jail, okay? Will you be here 1 week from today? On
Yes.
time? Okay. Between now and then, I need you to talk to your attorney. Ms. Ambrosinian, do you need a breakout room with him to make sure you have a way to communicate with him between now and next week?
That would be great.
Okay, let's go ahead and put Mr. Bennett in a breakout room with Ms. Ambrosinian. And I'll release you today, Mr. Bennett, for sentencing next week.
Is Mr. Bennett free to go?
Oh, yes, as long as you have good communication with him and you know how to reach him, because that's been a real problem, right? So Mr. Bennett is free.
I have given him all of the phone numbers that I could possibly give him. I was like, I'm giving you everything but my house address. I gave him the office number, my email, my work cell phone number, and I told him the specific time to call. See how well that goes.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Be safe, be well, sleep sweet, and much love.